you all. This morning, as you have been informed earlier, we have our visitors in our midst. A Lost Voice team are here to speak with us this morning on information that will be useful, for you today and on information that will be useful for you today and in future to be able to contribute your quota to the development of the nation. So you need to listen. You need to listen attentively as I introduce the leader of the team. Join me to welcome Mr. Rawlings, Ogie. Can we put our hands together, Mr. Rawlings?
Yes, let's make sure I get something to. No, I would prefer to really stand and, I love more when I'm talking standing. But nevertheless, since you guys are sitting, so let me also sit. So, I want you all to join me once again to give a hand of applause to the principal of this eloquent. Thank you. Once again, I am Rawlings, Ogie. My name, the founder, by the grace of God, of this NGO known as the Lost Voice Empowerment Initiative. An NGO that is constituted because of those of you here today. So I believe strongly that you are among the first, fortunate peoples across Lagos State and Nigeria, because this NGO just launched out roughly a month now. I want to start by saying that it's my great pleasure being here among you today to tell you a little bit more about what we are doing in these states, in this country, Nigeria. And we so believe that the work that we are doing, it's not going to remain in Nigeria alone, but also it will go offshore, in diaspora. There will be thousands of peoples like you, children, that will have the opportunity to emulate from these mindset restructuring. So what we're really doing in actual fact is restructuring our mindset. What do we mean by mindset restructuring? Doesn't mean that we have mixed the way and someone is trying to bring us back to the root. That is exactly what it means. Exactly what it means. You see, in the year 1960, I wasn't born. We had an independence. Nigeria was set free from the British Empire, being the British leadership, and we became leaders of our own selves. Now, since that time to this present day, Nigeria have had over 14 leaders, to be very precise, 15, including the incumbent. When I say leader, I mean among the president and military head of states. But no one among these numbers of them is ever said to be a good leader. I don't know if you have been told once that that president was the best president Nigeria had ever had. Have you heard it one day? From your parents, from people around you? You've never. Because they don't want us to understand that there are no group of persons that are really doing it wrong, while there are other group of persons that are doing it right. The fact remains that every one of us in this country, every man and every woman, we are part of the problem that we have. You know, our parents, we that is more than you in age, our parents wrongly taught us who to love if it pleases them, and who to hate if it doesn't please them. Or what they don't understand is we are the people, we are the one to face the curse of tomorrow and take the challenges by ourselves. So, like I said earlier, we have had series of these leaders. I'm not talking about the governors of states now, no, senators and local government chairman, reps, and every other public office. But all are tagged with the same name, bad leader. We have gotten the opportunity to study for ourselves the demography of this nation and discover that the leaders are not the people that's really making us to remain in the state we are, these debilitating states. But each and every one of us. Now, I want to give you this with illustration, the way you can understand it better. How many of you know hospital here? Hospital. The whole of you? That's beautiful. Okay, that's good. And how many of you know medical doctor? Who is a medical doctor? You know? That's good. Now, listen to this illustration. A sick patient was rushed to a hospital to be treated. She was seriously ill. And having been treated, she was discharged. She was healed. She went home and asked all her family members, friends, to come along with her to appreciate the doctor for saving her life. And they all came to the hospital. Oh, doctor, thank you for saving her life. Thank you, doctor. And the doctor stood statue, and doctor went inside and called on all the matrons and other doctors, co-doctors, and every staff in the hospital. He called the whole of them, and they all came out. And the doctor told them, please help me thank this woman for being alive. And they all came back to the woman, Madam, thank you for being alive. Thank you for saving yourself. And she said, no, I am the one to thank the doctor. Why are you now the one thanking me? And the doctor said, you know what? I am only here to prescribe what? Drugs, treatment. But you are the one that have the responsibility to adhere to my prescriptions. So if you decline my prescription and you did not adhere to how it's been prescribed to you, or you refuse to take the medication accordingly, you won't be here today to thank me. So, in other words, I am not the good doctor, but you, the what? The good patient. You see? Now, in this illustration, taking Nigeria for a case study, and taking the hospital as a parent. Now, the hospital is what? In this case, the country. The medical doctors are who? The leaders. The drugs is what? The law and what? Order. The patients are who? You and I, you see. Love you, son. So, in this illustration, who is responsible for the health of the patient? Is the patient him or herself, right? By doing what? By taking the prescription accordingly of the medical doctor. That's a way of telling you that any medical doctor could be tagged good doctor or what? Bad doctor. It is not the fault of the doctor, it is more the fault of who? The patient. Except in some cases, whereby wrong drugs is being prescribed. But see, that is in some cases, not in all cases. So, ask yourself, how come that in 14, 15 doctors, we have never had one that is called a good leader? They are all bad. Who do you now believe that is carrying the problem? The citizen. You and me. Not you. You and me. The whole of us. The whole of us. But this is what we have refused to acknowledge for 57 years. We have refused to acknowledge it. Because the mindset of the people is that from the moment you become elected for a public office, you become the one to resolve every of my problem. That means you are my governor, yes, you are my president, my senator, I go home and sleep. I don't have to do anything anymore. You resolve all the problem for me. Does it work that way? It doesn't work that way. Each and every one of us have our own quota to contribute if we want to see Nigeria becoming a great nation. When I was born in the year 1978, which is 40 years today, what I met that was imported from China was a tiger head razor blade. There's a razor blade they call tiger head. I don't know if any of you know it. Matches. There's one little thing like this that looks like a tortoise. It's made steel. They open the head and put some stuff, blades and various things. These were the only thing I met or saw that was imported from China. But I'll repeat again. I've said time without number. I'm not saying that was the only thing the Chinese people knew how to do. Probably more possible. But why here in Nigeria, in the year 1965, Nigeria got and served in the verge of war, the Civil War. We were catapulted to this war. that claims lives of millions of Nigerians. Now, this time, in the eastern part of this conference, the eastern world, there were people already out there who knew how to make a gun. A local made gun, they call it Orca made. You guys will not know that. The principle is good. So at that time, 65. In fact, there were people out there who knew how to make, they can make cutlasses, shovels, stuff like this. Bicycle. But today, those folks that knew how to do guns and cutlasses and shovels and even bicycle, they cannot produce a motorbike. But those that only can produce razor blades and matches, 20 years later or 10 years later after the war, they are now producing aeroplanes. There is no car that is not assembled in China. In fact, most of the Boeing aircraft are assembled in China. Advancement never starts everywhere in a country. It starts from workplace. It's like a virus. It spread. But how come that those that knew how to do little then, now they can't do anything? Which would have prompted by now our state of living. Tribal gender. Tribalism. In another word, nepotism. That is a sickness in the state, in the system of our country. Anyone that is in position wants to first give every opportunity to his tribal mates before those that are qualified or that possess the quality or the qualification for that. Tribal gender. Every nation and everyone that wish to see his or her country prospering and becoming among the leading nations in the world, what he or she should do is what? Is to put the country first. Your country first. So when you put your country first, nepotism is what? Eradicated. If you put your country first, you are not looking for your tribal mate to come and occupy that seat. You are only looking for who can do it better to promote the interests of the country, isn't it? The image of the nation. This will be your mind. But that's exactly what we're not doing. So, the Lost Voice Empowerment Initiative is not here to discuss who caused the problem that we are facing today. That's not why we're here, and that's not why it is found. It is found to teach the way to mitigate all the issues, all the wrongs in the system. To bring about a catalyst spectrum that will catapult us to a perfect atmosphere. A word that will be conducive for us all to thrive. An enabling environment that we can all thrive. leave behind for our children and even for generations to come. To grow is the core value of everyone that value his organization. To grow is absolutely irrepetitive, infallible. When I mean the word infallible, I mean impeccable. You cannot do it. You have to grow in life, right? But to grow is to have a clean and a clear mindset. I hope you're going to remember that word. To have a clean and a clear mindset of work, of what you want, how you want it, when you want it. And also, it's very important that you understand that in a nation where people are not conscious of embedding themselves with strategies that will start to bring fruit in the next 10 years, in the next 15, 20 years, 25, 30 years, the people are dead. They're living. The strategies that really make you great when you get to that level tomorrow. The reason why I'm here, because you are coming up and you need these things so that when you get to that level tomorrow, from today in fact, you start to reshape your mindset and know what you want and how to help this country to become great. And don't join those that are pointing accusation fingers towards a group of persons. See what happened here. I am accusing you of not doing good in the society. I'm accusing you. Now see what's happening. You see, how many fingers are pointing back at me? Just point towards somebody. Point towards somebody. Yeah. Just point like this towards somebody. How many fingers are pointing back at you? 3 fingers are pointing back at you. Do you know the message that the 3 fingers are sending to you? It's saying, check yourself first. Check yourself first. My wish for you is to see you become the leaders of these states, of this country, of this local government tomorrow. And some that will lead these countries are here today. Some that will lead these states are here today. We don't know them yet. But to bring that to pass means you must have a clean and a clear mindset. You must understand what it takes to be a leader. One of the fundamental principles of being a leader is work. To lead by example. A good leader leads by example. You cannot give what you don't have. You must see yourself a role model for others to emulate from. And also, to be a leader is to have a good listening ear. To listen to the fears and the worries of the people, those under you. Anyone that agitates, anyone that protests, anyone that riots have a reason for doing that. You are not a good leader if you don't have the capacity to sit down and ask what is the matter. The same way, a good father and a good mother, when the child at home, sometimes there are some meal your mama will give you and you say, no, I don't like that meal, I'm not going to eat it, right? And they say, dress this dress. I don't like that dress, I don't want to dress that way, isn't it? Sometimes, but I'm not saying you should do that, right? But your mama, you see that your mama will come to you and say, why don't you want to eat this food? This food is nice, it's rich, important, it has this, it has that, it has fiber. And sometimes in the end you're convinced and you go back and eat it, isn't it? That's how it ought to be. A good leader should listen to the people. Should know what it takes to bring peace. Now, I want to tell you one of our major message in this movement is equal right. Can somebody repeat that? Equal right. Who know what is equal right? Who can tell me? Equal right? Anyone? Okay, I'm going to tell you. We are working, urging our honorable lawmakers, our senators, to pass the bill of equal rights among genders to law. Because we strongly believe that this girl here is not lesser in any way than you. She's not. She's the same you are in everything. So, the right that the law under this country provide you with should be the same, nothing less, to this girl here. The mentality of saying, oh, what I have is only female, I need a male. I don't understand it. I don't understand. I am blessed with 3 daughters, beautiful daughters, and I love them so much. And I don't want my 3 daughters to have a lesser privilege in this country than your son. The law should stand to recognize the rights of my daughters, of you, the same way the rights of your sons are recognized. No woman is more than any man, and no man is more than any woman. I know some of you here will say, but a woman doesn't have the same strength that a man has. You know what I want to tell you? If to become a good human being in life is by physical strength, then truck pushers will be the greatest people. I have got into the brain to understand that the muscle of life is not here. It is here. The muscle that is needed today to scale through, to build a good environment, an enabling environment, to be a great leader, to bring change or cause change, to change that which is debilitated to perfect states, it's not here. It's not a physical muscle. It is a mental muscle. So, the mental muscle, every male child have a mental muscle, and every female child have what? The mental muscle. So if you are still looking at the physical muscle, not really you know, those that are grown out there, they should stop it. So we are teaching you that when you grow up tomorrow, the male among you, I'm talking to you now, the male among you, when you grow up tomorrow, it doesn't matter the religion your parents, the faith. When you grow up tomorrow, emulate God, the creator of heaven and earth, who gave the whole of us a blueprint. A blueprint, the way we all should follow when he created heaven and the earth. You have studied in your books that God created heaven and what? And created earth. And he created Adam. He created every living thing. And he created them in how many numbers? In two. A male and what? A female. And when he created Adam, with how many Eves? One Eve for one Adam. Isn't it? There is no man that is greater than God, and no man is wiser than God. When the male child here today, when you grow up tomorrow, one Adam, one what? One Eve. One man, one woman. The archaic and the Stone Age traditions of our fathers that says that one man can take more than one wife if he has the capacity to get her from them is absolutely repugnant, and it's not to be accepted in a society that want to move forward. No nation will ever reach her full potential without carrying her women along. Now, to the female among you here, when you grow up tomorrow after your university, ensure you study very well. Don't waste your teacher's time. Don't waste your parents' money. Ensure you study very well. Ensure you know why you leave your home in the morning and come back in the evening. Pay attention to your school teachers. Let that thing come to sink into you. And in your university, the same. And I charge you, when you are done, contest for any public office, any seat. The seat of the president of this country, the seat of governors of your states, senator, anything, contest for. Because that you are a female Nigerian does not say that you are an inferior Nigerian. It's just that you're a different sex from a different woman. But we're the same. What matters is where. Remember, here. Here. What you have upstairs. Don't let anybody tell you that a woman education ends in the kitchen. What ends in the kitchen is the mentality of that person saying it, not your education. Not your education. There's nothing that makes you lesser than any male child. And we want this nation in the nearest future to become so all around. That is the work we are doing. That is why we're going from primary school to primary school, secondary school to secondary school, university to university, churches to churches, mosque to mosque. If we live in one nation, we should practice one law. And if we are practicing democracy, the democracy should be practicing work in totality. And one of the fundamental laws of democracy is said to be equal plus uno, meaning equal right among all practicants. So, I'm not going to take too much of your time because there are so much more to do. But let me tell you that it's my great pleasure being among you and my team. We want to appreciate you and the authorities of the school for this opportunity to bring it to us to speak with you. And I believe strongly, I hope that the few messages you have received here today will take you a long way. And also let me enjoin you to be involved in keeping your environment clean. Keep your environment clean. We have so many videos on our YouTube page that has to do with teaching children how to keep their environment clean. When you purchase a sachet water, the one you call pure water, so, and you consume the water, don't throw the sachet on the public road. How many of you are here in this hall? I'm sure we're more than 50 here. Let me go on the low scale. If 50 people would consume a sachet water and throw the empty sachet on the ground, the whole of this compound, apparently, will be what? Become a mess. When you consume bottled water or soft drink, don't throw the can on the public road. Keep it. If you're in your daddy or your mommy car and you consume such, drop the plastic bottle or the sachet inside the car. Don't throw it on the public road. And when you get home, bring out the food mat, circulate the transparent in the bin, and from there the lawnmower will come and pick it. Put that in your consciousness. It will help us to keep the environment clean. It's not good when we drink, you throw it there, and the other one, the whole environment is worse. And when someone, a foreigner, is driving tomorrow along that road, you know what the foreigner is going to say? When he sees us stuff, Nigerians, very dirty people. You see? Because that foreigner is not going to ask for the name of the individual that done the sachet there. One thing is clear to him or her is that that thing is done where? In Nigeria. By who? By Nigerians. So don't be among those that make them call us dirty people. Be among those that will make them call us neat people. And I will leave you with this last statement. I left this country in the year 2002 for a search of the greener pasture in the western world. I got there and discovered that a greener pasture is right here have is beautiful and perfect, but they work for it strongly to get what they have. Another way of saying that, if we work for ours, we will get it right. That means a greener pasture is not given to anyone, it is air. Thank you, and may God bless you. Thank you.
I'm sure that you actually enjoy what you have listened to. Anyone among you that actually have a question or questions to ask is ready to listen to your questions and also respond to them. So if you have a question, please raise your hand and we will call you to ask your questions. Anybody in the house that want to ask questions?
What has Major campaign president? What has Major campaign president?
Thank you very much. I think is one of the questions I was expecting to hear. If a girl can become a president, that's what we've been talking about since, right? That there is no difference between you, a girl child, and the boy child, the male child. No difference here. I am looking forward strongly, and I believe in my heart that a few years from now we will have a female president in this republic. The reason why I believe is very simple. Because I have discovered that the muscle of life is not here. It's right where? It's here. Every man have brain and every woman have brain. The other day I had a seminar and I threw a question to the floor. I demanded that any man that can stand up or a woman that can stand up to tell me one thing that a man can do in this world today that a woman cannot do, to go with 200,000 naira. 200,000 on a check. And no one were able to provide me one. I just needed two things that a man can do and a woman cannot do it. If I give you the same opportunity, you will not get it. Nothing. Absolutely. Nothing a man can do that a woman cannot do. My last trip to the Western world, the BA Boeing flight 777. 777 flight is not a small flight. It's like the length should be from that school down in the building there down to this building. The length 777. It's massive. And you know who was the pilot? A female. FO, female. Heavy duty machines. Women like you, girls, they are astronauts. You know what is astronauts? Those that go to space. Science, technology, name it. So, don't see your sex as a female. See yourself as a human being. That is what counts. All right? So, I'm sure that answers your question.
Excuse me, sir. In your last statement, you said something, greener pasture. So I don't really get the meaning of that. Greener pasture.
Thank you. Yes. A greener pasture, you've been hearing about greener pasture. Those are our brothers and sisters So many of them that have been enslaved and sold to people in African countries, and so many that got drawn in the Mediterranean Sea, all in the name of making Europe. So the word greener pasture means a perfect atmosphere, heaven on earth. Like in, I put it in my language. Okay. Let me try to look for illustration. Like a central bank where you just go and they say the whole doors are open. Go there and park money as you want. Something like that. That kind of mentality. Though it's insane. So that's a greener pasture. So what my word was that a greener pasture is not given to anybody for free. A greener pasture is what? It's aimed. So you can make your environment, your village, your local government, your states, your city to become that greener pasture if you work hard for it. Another way of telling you that you can become anything you want to become in life if you work hard for it. So that is the main. Thank you.
What if you are being discriminated as a female person or male, and that has been your goal since you were a child? How do you go about it?
See, I demanded for that platform is because there are so many women in our society today that have been absolutely stigmatized. They have been treated so bad, abused in all ramifications, and so many are locked up in agony. And their cries every day is how they can wash away these stigma. But how they can go about it is believing in themselves. Believing in themselves. A woman, for example, like the case of my mother, this is not really the time to tell you about myself deeply. Except if you have the opportunity today to go with my book, you'll be able to read about my biography. I was born from a very poor home. 5 siblings raised by a poor woman alone, being sent away emptily from her husband home, my late father. She was called all sort of names. She first suffered to break up marriages as a cause of barrenness. She was called all sort of names. I'm not here to talk about that. It's still too little to be aside. But she worked it out that at the end, before I left this country, my mother was able to put up a 4-bedroom apartment by herself. She sold a landed property she owned and gave it to me to travel and see how I can join her to raise my other siblings. So, how was she able to scale through? Because she believed in the potential in her. She's not educated. Because in those days, school education is only for the male child. My mother had to work in the farm to pay the school fees of her brother. So, the only way to erase stigmas which is oftentimes found among Nigerian women, most especially, is for them to believe in themselves. That is why I'm going from home to home, street to street, telling women that they should stand up on their feet. They should take what belongs to them. Yes. In my case, for example, my dear wife, she's not here tonight. Sometimes I come home early before her. And when I come, I go straight to the kitchen and make the meal. Take out the kids, set to the table. And when she comes, the meal is ready. Sit down. I set the table. My sister-in-law is right here. That is to certify what I'm saying, that I am not trying to prank you. She knows very well what I'm saying. So, every man ought to humble himself to help the women achieve the moral states. We understand the moral and so many values from our women have been denied because of the law. That is why we are demanding for that law equal right, and we are also demanding for the contract marriage law to be restructured as to provide coverage for single mothers in most cases. So, scaling out is to believe in yourself, believing that you can do it, believing that your education doesn't end in the kitchen. You as a man, because some cases there are men also that have been stigmatized. For example, you're being bullied. We all had our conversation in time past. Don't believe in what people say. Believe in your capacity. I don't know how many of you have heard about Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln. He was one time the president of the United States. He once said in one of his conversations, he said, nearly every man have the capacity to resolve adversity. He said, but to test a man's ability, give him power. Believe in yourself. You can do it. Thank you.
I want to ask a question about equal rights. What are equal rights?
Okay. Do you mean what is the meaning, the definition of equal right, or?
Yes, sir.
That's what you want to know. Equal right means giving the same fair share to everybody. In this class, for example, I have a book here, and it's enough for the number of students here, number of alumni. And I'm giving some 2, while some are giving 1. Is that equal right? So if I'm giving some 2, all should be what? Giving 2. But if I'm giving some 1, all should be giving 1, except in case that the number of alumnus here oversized the quantity of book here. Isn't it? So equal right means, when we say equal right can be in so many definition. Refer to so many areas. But the equal right we are demanding for is equal right among genders. Gender equality. Equal right among what? Genders. And we are waiting for you. When you graduate in your university, you will come to meet this initiative in any university you go. That you be part of it to promote this interest. That among men and women there is no difference. The law should recognize it so, because we are one human being. So that is correct. Thank you. All right, let's go.
You said we should believe in ourselves.
Yes.
Okay, what about those that are not educated to know their rights, and they believe in themselves, and they want to struggle to make it, and people are not around them? How would they be what they want to be?
Go ahead, go ahead. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I can really see it's a very brilliant student out here. See, it is a fact that there are so many people that are not academically backed up. Like the case of my mother, like I said. She never visited primary one. And today she cried every time and said the reincarnation is true. If I come back again, I want to be an academist. And God will grant us. Now, it's a fact that there are so many people in the society that are stigmatized. And because they don't have an academic background, they cannot come up boldly to speak. And even when they can, there are people that hinders them, right? They have some challenges, circumstances. That is why the Lost Voice Empowerment Initiative is found. No one has asked me yet, why is it called the Lost Voice? Because of your question. Because that voice could be completely eradicated, and we are giving that person the voice. In this book, the first thing you will see in the table of content is 10 fundamental pillars. The 10 fundamental pillars are the very catalyst, which is what we need to catapult this nation to the state we want it to be. Right here. Some of you will have the opportunity to go with this book after this session. And if I may refer you or tell you before you have the book, because of what you said, pillar number 1 is to empower our youth to focus on the right direction, which I describe as hunger for today, bread for tomorrow. That's suffer before pleasure. Number 2 is to eradicate the pointing of wrong fingers towards leaders as the only cause of numerous setback, and also respect the laws and order all over the country. Number 3 is to make us see research as the problem of our country and also the solution by providing its process and formulas. Number 4 is to foster unity and promote the welfare of every Nigerian by means of encouragement and providing lasting solutions. Number 5 is to stand for the voice of women in general by educating the youth on how a woman or a girl's child should be treated in the society and becoming an outstanding example for other nations to follow. While number 6 is to be a strong voice for the widows, the needy among us, and the oppressed, and those that cannot speak for themselves. That is where what is just mentioned. Amen. Those that are oppressed, those that cannot speak for themselves, we are here to speak for them. How do we speak for them? By giving them, by encouraging them, by teaching them or proving the quality that is in them, that they can do it if they believe in themselves. In themselves. Do you also understand that when we say education does not mean British language? Do you also understand that? It doesn't mean British language. So that you can speak English perfectly does not make you better than the one that cannot speak English at all. What is important is what you know. You understand? The book. So I may be the man that doesn't know how to speak English, and what I know how to speak is French or Spanish, in my case, for example. So you don't understand Spanish. So we have different code of communication, right? So that you know how to speak English and I don't know how to speak English does not mean that I am not neither and you are. So that folk who is being oppressed and stigmatized and doesn't have what they call English or British academy or British language backing him or up, may be having his own tribal language or dialect and understand very well her right. I have seen people who are not taught in the British language, but they know their rights. Do you understand what I mean? So if you can know your right in the Yoruba language, in Igbo language, in Hausa language, it's the same as you knowing your right in Spanish language or in French language. What is important is the message, not the code. Anyway, you've not got into that level, they will teach you all that. This code of communication, English, this, the other one, these are code of communication. Signs are there, right? Signs and all that. Okay. So, what is important is to know your right and have the capacity to fight it right. Thank you. Let's take that lady.
Is it possible to be a footballer? Is it possible for a woman to be a footballer?
Let's clap for her. Yeah. If I'm asking that question, I think I will bring you a football jersey. The one from which club do you prefer? No, you got it wrong. No, Chelsea is not in Nigeria. We are talking about promoting the image of our country. So all those of you that have Chelsea, Manchester, Arsenal t-shirt, go and dash it to someone else. Go and buy Eyimba, MFM. Like me, I'm a fan of Better Insurance of Benin because I'm from Benin. Okay, so support your local team. Because that is what they do in Europe. That's what they do. I played football before. So everybody supports their local team. No Spanish is wearing the t-shirt of any team in England or France. It's the team in his or her local government or her area. You understand? So when you value what you have, others will join you to value it. Okay, so start to support your local team. So now, it's about football. A man can play football, and what? A woman can do what? Play football. A man can play basketball, and a woman can play basketball. In fact, last time, our female Super Eaglet, they won the African Nations Cup, isn't it? African Nations Cup. And they were maltreated by not giving them what they are qualified for on time.
You see, that is the mentality of the people because it's women, so you understand. So anything a man can do, a woman can do it better. All right? Just believe in yourself. You can do it.
Sorry. About this equal rights and thing that we're talking about, there are many people out there that are a little bit physically challenged and are running for a particular goal, but can't get it because of their challenges, and later fall back and don't have anybody to rely on. So what I'm just trying to ask is that, what can we do to help those people?
Very beautiful question, so eloquent. Yes, those that are physically challenged, we're talking about equal right, how can we merge them together, mitigate the status quo, the difference, the issue in between. You see, this is where the law needs to come inside. Later, I will tell you about what we are doing in our capacity. But we also believe that this is the responsibility of the states, the government. In Nigeria today, for example, in the case of single mothers, there are so many single mothers everywhere, which are menances produced by we, the man. You know what I'm talking about. When one man have more than one wife, what happened at the end is that you are able to cater for those children adequately. You start constituting nuisancy and miscreancy and scripturals. So the law first must stand very strong to mitigate all these status quos. Like I stated before, the Contract Marriage Act, which is what we're fighting for, you may not understand this now, will now provide for every woman that from the day that you got married, which it has been so, but it is not implemented, it's only written. What you have belongs to the man, and what the man has belongs to what? The woman. And if eventually tomorrow both of you are to do away with your relationship, the law will be seen vibrantly. The home, the money, the account, the company, what have you, will be splitted accordingly. If there are children in the matrimony, whatever both of them have will be split in 3 places. One for the man, one for the woman, one to take care of the children. Which the law will make that the woman be the one to control that part of the children. Because they are the best managers when it comes to economics. You understand? So now, if single mothers start having this kind of backup in this country, the mindset of having more than one wife will go. Because you know what you are facing. You know what's waiting for you at the end of the time. You understand? And in that case, that means single mothers will be having backup to cater for their children. And they wouldn't be subject to abject poverty and a very high continent suffering. there are so many single mothers I am involved in. Most of them are involved in petty tradings. Wake up 4 a.m. in the morning to see how they sell okra, tomatoes, ice fish, just to provide for their children. The father of those children are not there. And these are also the women, like you said, that are suffering from the what they call abuse, or that are stigmatized already by this so-called status quo, which is unequal right, what we're living in today. So, having suffered from one part, they are also suffering to see their children through. Like the case of my mother, once again. She was engaged in all sort of odd jobs just to send us to school. And thanks to her, that I have the education that I'm having today. Though I try to fight for myself to get my higher institution later on. So we can really help so many of these families by enforcing the law, by ensuring that the law is standing firm to protect their interests. That is number one. Then number two is what each and every one of us can do individually. We, for example, right now, we have in place a project to open a workshop, render some little help to single mothers, boys and girls who have profession but are unable to open a workshop for themselves. In the fashion industry, in the stylist industry, or styling industry, in the mechanic field, furniture maker, name it. All we need now, we understand that a hungry man is an angry man. An idle mind is what? A double workshop. So what we're trying to do is how we can put everybody to work. What do you know how to do? We'll try to see how we can open a shop where you can be working and other 10, 15 Nigerians that wouldn't have money to write what they call agreement fee can go and learn free of charge to help the nation move forward. That's what we have in place right now. So I guess that answers the question. Thank you.